ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
So this is sixth point. I am writing the seventh point. It causes internodal elongation or petiole elongation. What is the next aspect? It causes internodal elongation or petiole elongation, especially in case of, let us talk about rice plants, especially the rice plants which grow in deep water, especially rice plants which grow in deep water. And see how beautiful is our nature. Nature will understand where the plant is growing. The plant is growing in deep water. As plant is growing in deep water, so what rice plant will do the arrangement? Within the rice plant there is a synthesis of what is called ethylene. Ethylene will get synthesized within the rice plant. So what that will do ethylene? Ethylene will cause internodal elongation or petiole elongation. That means, let us imagine this is a rice plant. Rice plant is growing in water. Let us imagine this is a rice plant. Now the upper ones are having longer petioles than the lower ones. So where the yield will get produced, where yield will come on the upper branches. Where yield will come on the upper branches. So seeds or the grains not to get flood in water, not to get submerged in water. See, rice itself will do its own arrangement. What it will do? The grains has to get protected. So the rice plant produces ethylene. Within the plant ethylene is produced. What ethylene will do? Ethylene makes the upper branches with longer petioles. So longer petioles are observed in case of upper branches. Longer petioles or longer internodal elongations are seen in upper branches, whereas the lower branches are submerged in water, because these are submerged in water. Not to get submerged in water, upper branches have longer petioles. See, such a beautiful mechanism to protect its own grains away from water. Naturally ethylene will do its own functions. Similarly, let us talk about other one. It involved in root hair, root growth and root hair formation. It's involved in root growth and root hair formation, especially the root to undergo the growth. Root hair formation and root growth, some extent ethylene also contributes. Ethylene contributes for root growth. So here ethylene is the one which mainly responsible for growth of the root system and root hair formation. Apart from this, now if you look at even here, we see that ethylene, this is the 8th point. So I am writing the 9th point here. Look at carefully. Now in case of 9th point here, it helps in especially abscission. Abscission means here we can take thinning of cotton, walnut and cherry. So you can take these examples also. I hope it is visible. Examples are very clearly I have written, even though I wrote in the center, but remember this is a point which you have to remember. Ethylene causes abscission, especially thinning of. Thinning means what? No much productivity. Cotton yield will come down, very thinning. Thinning means cotton yield will come down. Thinning of cotton, walnut and cherry. So this is what you find in case of ethylene, right? Apart from this, ethylene also responsible for what you call here senescence. Ethylene also responsible for, 10th point I am writing here, ethylene is also responsible for senescence. What is senescence here? The delay, what you call aging process. So, aging of leaves, aging of buds, fruits and all that. So, why it is called senescence? After ripening, fruit is fully prepared to get fall off. Who makes the fall off of ripened fruit from the plant? Again it is taken care by ethylene. Ethylene causes senescence. Senescence means here aging of leaves, buds and fruits. So, these all are nothing but the impacts of mainly what we call ethylene. I will repeat again, very important, guys, listen carefully. We are discussing physiological effects of ethylene. What is ethylene? C2H6. C2H6 is ethylene. So, what are the functions? Let us talk, the first one is fruit ripening. Whenever ethylene is added artificially or within the plant naturally, ethylene is produced and that causes fruit ripening. So, it is also called as fruit ripening hormone. Similarly, it is responsible for triple response. What is the second point? Triple response. Triple means at a time it controls three processes. What are the three processes? It inhibits stem elongation, induces lateral growth and stimulates transverse geotrophism, especially the horizontal growth. Next is flowering. What it will do? Generally it delays flowering, but in exceptional cases it makes the flowers to happen. Very important in case of pineapple and contributes for fruit set, and also mango, cucumber, especially in cucumber it contributes for the formation of female flowers. Guys, if you remember, did you remember we studied auxin also pineapple? Did you remember auxin also causes formation of flowers in pineapple? They are nothing but similarities. Similarities between auxin and ethylene. Right. Then the fourth point is here, it causes swelling of seed axis, apical hook formation and increases the rate of respiration in fruits, that is called respiratory climactis, example apple. And ethylene induces dormancy. Induces dormancy is a general condition, but exceptional cases it stimulates an initiation, that is very rare cases. You have to remember what are they? Germination of peanuts and sprouting of potato tubers. Apart from this, so here you can make the difference here. Abscisic acid causes delay in sprouting of potato tubers, but ethylene makes the sprouting of potato tubers. So, the difference is between abscisic and ethylene. Then apart from this, here ethylene is also responsible for elongation of internodes and petiole, especially when you can see rice plants are submerged in deep water. Naturally, upper petioles have longer petioles, upper branches have longer petioles, and compared with the branches which are very short, which are submerged in water. Apart from this, also contributes for root growth and root hair formation. Then it also causes abscission, that is why it is called mostly growth inhibitor, especially thinning of cotton, walnut and cherry, right. And lastly, also responsible for senescence. Senescence means after ripening what happens? All fruits, leaves, flowers, they all get fall off. That is called aging of leaves, aging of buds and aging of fruits. So, this all will come under physiological effects of ethylene. Now, in ethylene part, what we main thing we discussed is fruit ripening. Main thing what we discussed is fruit ripening. So, nowadays ethylene started applying externally artificially for the ripening of the fruits. So, what is that component which mainly used for ripening of fruits? Mainly used for ripening of fruits. Ethylene is a gaseous compound. It is volatile in nature, easily it will get evaporated. Then nowadays, as we have discussed in summer season for mangoes, not only on mangoes, in most of the fruits, most of the vegetables, they spray carbide and other forms of ethylene. So, what ethylene will do when we spray externally onto the fruits and vegetables? It causes what? Ripening of fruit. Unripened fruit, unripened vegetable, it appears as if it got ripened. but general most common example, right? Now summer season, if you take the mango, it appears yellow in color. So we think it's ripened, but when you cut the mango, it is unripened. So artificially ethylene is sprayed externally. That means externally means exogenous. Exogenous application. Exogenous application means externally ethylene is sprayed here for the ripening of fruits. So which compound is most commonly used means we can take the compound called ethefone. What is the most commonly used artificial ethylene for ripening of the fruits in the market for vegetables and fruits is nothing but what? Ethefone. Ethefone it's nothing but 2-chloro-ethyl phosphoric acid. Ethyl phosphoric acid. Okay, so here ethylene is exogenous in application, externally it is applied. Most commonly used ethylene compound is nothing but ethefone. Ethefone is nothing but 2-chloroethyl phosphoric acid. So most commonly it is the powder which they mix it in water. It is a powder mixed in water, it is nothing but the liquid they make and they spray externally on the surface of the fruits, that causes slowly the ripening of fruits, artificial ripening of fruits. Okay, so this is nothing but complete story of ethylene. Ethylene was discovered by Gane and later functions have been studied by Berg and Thiamin. This is nothing but total story of ethylene. Now let us study about dormancy. So just now we studied a list of plant growth promoters, a list of plant growth inhibitors we studied. In that if you talk mainly inhibitors like abscisic acid, ethylene if you see, most commonly they are responsible for dormancy. What is that dormancy? We all know that inability of the seed to undergo the process called germination. That means here there is a failure in germination of seed, failure in seed germination, or we write earlier what we have written, inability of the seed to undergo germination. Inability of the seed to undergo germination. Inability of the seed to undergo germination. It is called as what? Dormancy. I repeat again, a seed fails to undergo germination in unfavorable environmental condition, then it itself is called as what? Dormancy. We all know about dormancy. We know about dormancy. Now let us study in detail about the process of dormancy. Now dormancy, it is generally divided into two types or two categories. Two categories are, first one is quiescence and the second one is dormancy. First one is quiescence and what is the second one is dormancy. What is quiescence here? Quiescence is nothing but seed failed to germinate due to lack of favorable external conditions. Favorable external conditions or external factors. Okay, what's the meaning of this? Seed failed to germinate due to lack of favorable external factors, even though internal factors are favorable. Even though internal factors are favorable, even though internal factors are favorable. What exactly is the meaning of this? What are internal factors? We will come to know in the dormancy. Okay, what are internal factors? We will come to know in the dormancy. But what is quiescence here? Quiescence is nothing but a process of seed fail to germinate, a process in which, okay, how do we define? The process in which seed fail to germinate due to, seed is unable to germinate. Why? Due to lack of favorable external conditions, due to lack of external factors. What are external factors here? What note you can take? Light, temperature, moisture, pressure, humidity. These all are called as external factors. These all are not favorable. So, here what do we say? There is a lack of favorable external conditions. No sufficient light, maybe there is no accurate optimum temperature, maybe there is no sufficient humidity. Because of this lack of, as external conditions are not favorable, seed fail to germinate even though internal conditions are favorable. Internal factors means, internal conditions means seed is completely having all the components. It is fully developed, it produced with the matured embryo, seed is fully developed up to the size, seed internal factors are alright. But due to lack of surrounding external conditions, lack of light, required light, lack of minimum temperature, lack of minimum humidity, whenever external factors makes the failure in seed germination, then that we refer the process called as quiescence. We call that one as quiescence. Now let us go with dormancy, quite opposite. So what do we write for this? So here the same I am writing, seed fail to germinate due to lack of internal factors, due to lack of internal factors. What internal factors? Maybe immature embryo or seed coat. So, even though external conditions or external factors are favorable, external factors are favorable. What we do? Quite reverse. What do we do here? Quite reverse. So, what exactly is the dormancy? We say seed failed to germinate due to lack of internal factors. Internal factors means what? Within the seed itself, seed is not fully developed. Why? Maybe because of immature embryo. Embryo is not completely mature. It's not fully developed. It is improper, not completely proper or functionless. So, immature embryo or maybe because of seed coat. Whenever internal factors are making the seed fail to germinate, even though external factors are favorable. What's the meaning of external factors are favorable? It has sufficient sunlight, it has sufficient temperature is there, humidity is there, moisture content is there, external conditions all are alright. External factors are favorable. Temperature is there, humidity is there and even light is there, all factors are, external factors are favorable. But seed failed to germinate due to lack of internal factors, then only the process is called as dormancy. If at all lack of external factors, then if the seed failed to germinate, then it is called quiescence. I hope you got the clear difference. If there are no proper external factors, it is called quiescence. If it is lack of internal factors, it is called dormancy. Right. Now, let us study what are the factors responsible for dormancy. I wrote few here. it may be immature embryo seed coat. Let us see some more the processes which makes the seed to fail to germinate. So, let us see the processes of dormancy we are discussing. Under dormancy, now let us see what are the internal factors, lack of which internal factors causes dormancy. Now, let us talk about internal factors of dormancy. Let us continue further. So, what processes enhances dormancy? So, what makes? Let us talk about the processes of dormancy, means the processes which are responsible for dormancy. Which processes? First reason is internal factor, internal reason. What is the first reason? It may be due to development of thick and hard seed coat. It may be due to thick and hard seed coat. So, that is one of the internal reason for making the seed to fail to germinate, or maybe it is due to called dormancy. So, why the thick and hard seed coat here? For example, if you take in case of thick and hard seed coat, you can take in case of Polygonum and some members of Cyperaceae. They are being surrounded by very hard seed coat. So, whenever seed, this is seed is surrounded by a thick seed coat. So, when seed coat is so hard, the seed is failed to germinate into young plantlet. As thick seed coat is there, hard seed coat is there, then definitely the young plantlet cannot germinate. Where do you find? In case of Polygonum and in case of Cyperaceae. Then what we have to do this? Then a thick and hard seed coat removed by the method called as scarification. So, I will write here hard seed coat. What do I write here? Hard seed coat removed by the method called scarification. What is scarification? We will discuss at the end of the dormancy, that is mechanical removal of seed coat. Nothing but we have mechanical rupture of seed coat. Just simply we are removing the seed coat before putting the seed for germination. It is called scarification. We will discuss at the end again. Then it may be due to immature embryo or poor or improper development of embryo. Improper development of embryo. What exactly meaning of this? Embryo is not morphologically matured. It is not attained a morphological maturity. Not attained morphological maturity. Let us make it as a meaningful statement here. Embryo is not fully developed. What is the meaning of immature embryo? Embryo is not fully developed, or there is a improper development of embryo. What is exactly meaning of these two terminologies? Embryo is not attained a morphological maturity. Morphologically means if you see externally, it is not fully developed. So, when embryo is not attained morphological maturity, then also seed fails to germinate. It leads to what is called dormancy. You can take example ranunculus. You can take example ranunculus. Right? Yeah, in case of ranunculus, improper embryo or immature embryo. Then, apart from this, let us continue further. Sometimes what happens here, apart from this, you find impermeable seed coat. Impermeable seed coat. Seed coat is thin, no doubt, it's normal, not thick like this, but it is impermeable. So, impermeable means it is not allowing anything to come, anything to go out. So, impermeable to what here? Let me write again here clearly. Seed coat is impermeable, means not allowed to water and impermeable to oxygen. Seed coat is not allowing water to come. Then seed remain in the process called as dormancy. So, where do you find this kind of this? You find in case of Leguminaceae, Malvaceae and Nelumbium. In this case, you find a seed coat is there, no doubt, seed coat is present, no doubt, but the seed coat will not allow water to enter. Water cannot enter inside because seed coat is impermeable. Because of this, seed fail to germinate and remain exhibit dormancy. Where do you find Leguminaceae, Malvaceae as well as in case of Nelumbium. In some members, seed coat is impermeable to oxygen. It will not allow oxygen to enter inside. As a result, again seed fails to germinate and remain in what you call dormancy. So, this you find in the members of, you can say Malvaceae and this one no, Piperaceae. Piperaceae and also found in case of Cisalpinaceae. What are these? These all are family names. The plants belong to the family Piperaceae. The plants belong to the family Cisalpinaceae. Generally they fail to germinate. It is because the seed coat is impermeable to oxygen. Right. Then apart from this, in some cases we find growth inhibitors. In some members we find what are called as growth inhibitors. So, what happens in growth inhibitors? Naturally in some fruits or in some seeds, naturally growth inhibitors are synthesized, especially if you take in case of tomato and other fruits. What are growth inhibitors? I am writing growth inhibitors. GI means growth inhibitors. What are they? We studied abscisic acid. Abscisic acid is a growth inhibitor, it will not allow growth to take place. Apart from this, some more chemicals if you take, caffeic acid, ferulic acid and apart from this, coumarins. These are naturally synthesized in different plants and they are natural growth inhibitors. They are naturally will not allow seed to germinate and they make the seed to remain appear in dormancy. So, these are nothing but different reasons. Okay, these are nothing but different reasons. So, here unable to germinate here, Piperaceae is there, Polygonum, Ranunculus are most frequently question getting examples. What are they? Polygonum, Ranunculus, Piperaceae, Leguminaceae and this abscisic acid are nothing but most frequently questions will come on these examples. In these plant, what makes them seed to fall in dormancy means, if the question is on Polygonum means you have to say the reason is hard seed coat. If it is Ranunculus, then improper embryo. If it is Leguminaceae, impermeable seed coat. Piperaceae, impermeable to oxygen and abscisic acid, that is natural growth inhibitor you find in case of tomato. So, these all are nothing but what? The processes of dormancy. Let us see the reasons again. What is the first one? thick and hard seed coat. Where do you find? Polygonum cyperaceae. Then how do you remove? Hard seed coat can be removed by the process called scarification. We will discuss now clarification. Other reason is maybe due to immature embryo or improper development of embryo. That means embryo is not attained morphological maturity. Example, ranunculus. Then maybe it is impermeable seed coat. That means seed coat is impermeable to water. You find in Leguminaceae, Malvaceae or Nelumbium. Impermeable to oxygen in Piperaceae and Cisalpinaceae. Other reason is growth inhibitors, especially tomato or in case of cucumber. In all these cases, tomato and cucumber, maybe there is a natural synthesis of chemicals within the plant like abscisic acid, caffeic acid, ferulic acid, coumarins. They act as natural growth inhibitors and they make the seed to remain occur in dormancy. Right? Now let us continue further. Let us study methods of breaking dormancy. Let us study now methods of breaking dormancy. Marker is this. Thank you. Now, what are the different methods for breaking of dormancy? How do you break dormancy? Just now we studied what are the reasons or the processes responsible for dormancy. Now, how to break the dormancy? How to make the C2 again to start germination process, that is called breaking of dormancy. Let us take one of the process. Just now we studied scarification. What is the first method? It is called scarification. It may be a mechanical scarification or it may be by chemical scarification. Mechanical scarification and or it may be by chemical scarification. What is mechanical scarification here? A mechanical rupture of seed coat with needles and using some forceps, etc. Okay, so we are taking simply scarification is for what? It can be done for to remove hard seed coat, to remove hard seed coat. How do we remove hard seed coat? If this is the seed, then surrounded by thick seed coat is there. This is nothing but seed coat. So, before soaking the seed into soil, before putting the seed into soil, what you do? Simply you take the seed into your hand, take the needle or forceps and remove the seed coat. Okay, simply with the help of needle or the forceps, you remove the seed coat mechanically. So, artificially with the human beings they will rupture the seed coat with needles and forceps. Simply with the needle, if you remove the seed coat, put it in the soil and definitely it will undergo what is called germination. This method is called mechanical scarification. Method is used for what? To remove hard seed coat. Right, I hope you got it. Mechanical rupture of seed coat with needles and forceps is called mechanical scarification. Then what is chemical scarification here? Whenever you find that seed is with hard seed coat, thick and hard seed coat, then soak the seed, soak the hard seed coat into either you take acid or you take water, universal solvent, or you take some solvent. or some base. Right. So, whenever you soak the hard seed coat, so here the hard seed coat slowly dissolves and removed. Then seed is free of seed coat. When you put it in the soil, seed will undergo the process called germination. Chemical scarification means soak the hard seed coat into the container having the chemicals. Maybe soak it into acid having in the container having acid, or soak it into the water, or maybe soak it into the solvent or into some base or alkaline solution. Then slowly the seed coat get dissolved into the surrounding solution. Thereby what happens? The hard seed coat can be dissolves and it will get removed. Now when you keep the seed into the soil, seed will undergo the process called germination. This is one of the method to break the dormancy. Another method is stratification, or itself is called as pre-chilling. Stratification or itself is called as what? Pre-chilling. Then what is this stratification or pre-chilling? Now if you look at here in this mechanism, what do we do is seed will take and we keep the seed somewhere in the deeper layers of the sand. One layer with the sand, other layer with the peat, again with the sand and peat. What do we do here? We make the seed, put it in the deeper layers of the soil. Seed is placed in a deep layers of sand. A deep layers of sand. I hope it is visible. Okay, I hope it is visible. Seed placed in deep layers of sand. Into the deep layers of sand, we are keeping the seed. What we have placed here? The seed is placed here. I repeat again, seed before putting into the soil, before soaking, seed is placed in deep layers of sand. What do? We go to the deeper layers of the sand, put the seed somewhere in the depth and add a layer of sand, again a layer of peat, sand and peat, alternate layers of sand and peat. Using that you try to cover the seed with so many layers. Cover the seed alternatively with sand layer and peat layer and keep the seed somewhere at the depth of the sand, and try to maintain the temperature 0 to 10 degrees centigrade and let it have some moisture. The seed will get exposed to moisture content and let it keep for 2 to 3 months. Keep it for 2 to 3 months, and after 2 to 3 months take out the seed out and go for putting in the soil. Definitely there is a breaking of dormancy and seed will undergo the process called germination. That is called pre-chilling treatment. This is also called as pre-chilling treatment. What is meant in pre-chilling treatment? Making the seed to get exposed to the lowermost temperature. Lowermost temperature means 0 to 10 degrees centigrade. When you make the seed to get exposed to 0 to 10 degrees for about 2 to 3 months in the different layers, that's why it's called stratification. Alternate layers of sand and peat. When you keep the seed for about, you have to wait for 2 to 3 months. After that, when you put the seed for germination, definitely there is a breaking of dormancy and seed will undergo germination. These are the two important methods for breaking dormancy. I repeat again, just quick revision. Breaking dormancy, first one is scarification. This method is used to remove hard seed coat. It may be by mechanical scarification or maybe by chemical scarification. What is mechanical scarification? A mechanical rupture of seed coat with needles, forceps. Mechanically we are rupturing the seed coat. Or chemical scarification, soak the hard seed coat into acid, water, solvent or maybe in alkaline or base solution, and that dissolves the hard seed coat can be removed. This is come under scarification. What is the second method? Stratification or pre-chilling. Simply take the layers of the sand and put the seed somewhere into the depth of the sand and cover it with alternate layers of sand and peat. It's called stratification. That means we are keeping the seed in deep layers of sand and try to maintain in the lowest layer 0 to 10 degrees centigrade and provide moisture content and keep it like that for 2 to 3 months. Then this is called pre-chilling treatment, that is treatment with the lowest temperature. Definitely the seed breaks the dormancy and definitely get ready to undergo the process called as germination. So these are earlier we discussed quiescence and dormancy. We studied what factors are responsible for dormancy and now what are the methods for breaking dormancy.